Hello, everyone. Oh, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. We did not go into this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Oviedo Cup. We are now entering Top Cut. I am here with, of course, Adit, who you guys been hearing their beautiful voice the entire time. How's it going?
It's going really good. I'm really happy to be here. So we saw you on stream round 1 with that Dodrio. How did that feel?
Cut the tapes. We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about Dodrio.
Listen, I'm going to be honest. Dodrio, it gets a lot of hate, gets a lot of slack, but in my personal opinion, kind of could do the work depending on the matchup. I brought it throughout my entire run, I think 2 to 3 games. Obviously, the one we saw on stream, and then 2 against Groudon. A lot of fun. That bird, I need to change this moveset. I need Tailwind.
I like the Iron Treads.
The Iron Treads, yeah. There's a lot of history with that team, and I would love to talk about it. But I'm probably going to be... That team might be getting some spotlight in San Antonio, so you should probably tell Pokemon Company to put me on stream round 2. Because after round 2, I might not make it that far. But let's talk about the teams itself. Let's not focus on mine. Let's talk about the entire bracket that we have here. Because there's a lot of strong players that came to this tournament, and honestly... A lot of them got cut, but here's our top 8.
Right, so at number 1, we have Carrie D. Ortona, who is using the Calyrex Shadow Balance. Christopher Baez using the Zamazenta Qianpao Dragonite. Javon Texera using Qianpao Dragonite Zamazenta against Matthew Lautlin, who's using Calyrex Shadow Clefairy Thundurus. And apparently Logan Martinez and Austin Latowski. It's a Kyogre versus Groudon matchup.
We're having Weather Wars.
So the one game we have not talked about, Elise Johnson versus Sean Benek, that is going to be our future stream match. So we will have to show you the teams whenever they show up. But this should be a very exciting match with 2 teams that... I think Elise you have seen on stream before at this event. She is using Terapagos, but we'll just have to show you Sean's team whenever he is on stream.
Okay. Read the production a little bit, minor production error.
Those are not the teams that are going to be used.
Those were the previous rounds. Yeah. That will get fixed during production, but we'll give a little bit of hint. It's honestly, let's just talk about the general top 8 because it is honestly surprising. There's a lot of variety and some mons that honestly are surprising to be here. I think, Groudon is definitely one of the more interesting picks. It dominated heavily earlier today in Birmingham and was definitely restricted. That was seen as, it is not that great, but the meta has shifted afterwards.
I mean, Flavio Del Pidio did a really good job piloting that team. And as you can see right here, we see Elise Johnson using that Terapagos, and then Sean Benek using the same team that Chengyu Zheng used to top 8 the Pokemon World Championships in 2024. So very interesting to see this Miraidon Dozo team against Terapagos.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, mostly because these are 2 different variations of most of the Miraidons. Most Miraidons now are usually the Lucas Arabelli set that obviously won Worlds, and Terapagos has been seen to be on the Calm Mind variation. It's a lot more bulkier. You're able to just do more damage, but it obviously takes a bit. But obviously, we're seeing Elise running that Choice Specs variant. Something that's been off-putting. I think after NAIC, it kind of went downhill. But she has her partner. She has Volcarona. She has the Grimmsnarl. 2 very powerful supportive pieces that could kind of handle one for CSR, but the other one for Zamazenta. And then she has like the top 3
right, Incineroar, Fluttermane, and Urshifu.
Yeah.
And as you can see, Sean Benek is using the Chengyu team, and we see Dragonite, not with Qianpao this time. We see Goldengo, Miraidon with that Assault Vest, not the common Choice Specs variant, Dondozo with Leftovers, and Tatsugiri with Choice Scarf. Now, if I recall correctly, Chengyue's match against Luca Ceribelli at Worlds was extremely close. It came down to there's a video, I think, by ScrawVGC about why Luca decided not to target the why Luca targeted into the Tatsugiri. So I would definitely check that out if you're interested. So this match with Elise versus Sean. It should be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing these team plays out. It is going to be a little bit interesting for, I definitely think, Sean, mostly because when it comes to, I think, most of the restricteds with Dozo, it feels sometimes very linear just because it's either you will, off the bat, you either know they are bringing a Dozo or they're not bringing a Dozo, and then it just makes it easier for the opposing side to be able to kind of go from there. But it's gonna be interesting to see how it starts up, and I think we're gonna be heading straight into the match, which honestly I'm very looking excited for. I cannot wait to see these players entering now in top 8.
Yeah, this is going to be very exciting. So we have.
Okay. Seems like we're taking a little bit long, but we're entering the game right now. Seems like we're going to have a Terapagos Miraidon lead versus Grimmsnarl Gholdengo. Very interesting on both sides of these for each player.
Right, and I really actually like Sean's lead here. Identifying that Grimmsnarl is a major piece of Elise's team, and being able to go for those super effective Make It Rains.
I will say being able to go for those super effective Make It Rains definitely helps her out. Plus, because of Grimmsnarl's light screen, it can mitigate a little bit of the damage, but it's going to be interesting how Sean wants to play this out. Because of Terapagos, it could just Terrasilize and remove the terrain, but if Elise goes for that, she's not going to be able to have that once later on in the set, and Sean's going to be able to pivot around that and start being able, just as long as can get rid of Terapagos, it should be fine.
And it looks like there might not be a Terrasilization on Sean's side, maybe a Volt Switch to reset the terrain for later. Just really curious to see what Sean is going to be doing.
Yeah, it seems like Terapagos will be Terrasilizing, trying to remove that terrain, lowering the power of Miraidon. I do believe we might be seeing a light screen. There it is. Grimmsnarl setting up the light screen now, lowering the special attacks for each of these Mons. And, it's not. It's an Electro Drift. I'm surprised by that.
Doing very insignificant damage due to Assault Vest and no Choice Spec. But Make It Rain does a lot of damage into Grimmsnarl.
That's a lot more than I anticipated. That was Specs. Usually, that might have picked up, but usually without Light Screen. But now, because of the Light Screen, not that much damage. Terra Starstorm going into both of the sides of the Mon. Gholdengo going down a little bit below half, but Miraidon still chunking a good bit. I honestly don't really know what the game plan is for Sean here, because he can do a lot of damage, but it looks like that Gholdengo's not going to be able to survive another turn.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see if he has that Dondozo Tatsugiri mode in the back.
We do see Elise swapping out into that Volcarona, trying to, I guess, take resisted hits from the Make It Rain and just wanting to let that Gholdengo go, the Grimmsnarl go down. Draco Meteor goes into the Volcarona. It does take it because of not only not being specs, but also no terrain and the light screen, and it's also able to eat up that Make It Rain, but sadly not for its partner. Grimmsnarl's going away, sadly.
Right, and it seems like both Pokemon on Sean's side have reduced stages of special attack, -2 on both sides. So I think this is the time that Sean needs to get them out. Terapagos is looking very good here. And I think this is a pretty ideal position for Elise. We'll have to see what Sean locks into.
Yeah, going for the Tailwind and trying to just get off of that into like that massive amount of damage is really good for Elise. I just don't see a way for Sean to pivot out unless he goes for that Volt Switch. Might be able to possibly bring in either that Dozo or maybe that Dragonite, which I believe is running multi-scale. So it's going to be able to eat it up. But no, it is the Dozo. Very good swap on their side, making it rain, trying to do damage, but it is going to pick up the KO onto the Volcarona, but not Terapagos.
A critical hit on Volcarona. Oh, that is so unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. No Tailwind is going to get set up this turn. Terra Starstorm is going to go off, but I think it might only pick up the KO onto Gholdengo if it's lucky.
Yeah, that's actually doing major amounts of damage onto Dondozo without its Omni Boost. Choice Specs Terra Starstorm really paying dividends with the Choice Specs. It's going to be really interesting to see if Dondozo has the bulk to be able to survive the rest of the turns.
Miraidon's coming out. That's going to be very interesting on Sean's side. No Tatsugiri yet. Maybe possibly trying to keep it till the final end of the Mon. We do see Elise's final Mon, which is Urshifu, which is great for this side. Be able to ignore the Dozo boost once Tatsugiri comes in, assuming it's in the back, but it's gonna be a little bit tricky for Elise to come back on this, because depending on what Miraidon goes for, or if they swap into Tatsugiri, it could just dodge all of the moves that Elise trying to go for.
Yeah, this is a really interesting position. I think that, yeah, we see the switch out from Elise into that Tatsugiri.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see, maybe pulling a page out of Luca's book, Elise trying to KO that Dondozo with that Terra Starstorm.
Yeah, the Dozo boosts are coming in. It might be I don't know if this is enough to even survive both a Terra Starstorm and a Surging Strike or Close Combat, assuming it going into that Dozo slot. Close Combat goes, but not into correct slot. Going on to Tatsugiri, avoiding the hit. Wave Crash comes out from Dozo, going into Terapagos. Will be able to pick up that KO. Reflect was still up, but it does not matter. The boosts are what gets Terapagos down, and I think Elise is not going to be able to come back from this. Urshifu's a powerful mon, but when you put the fish and the sushi together, you get a very strong beast.
Right, and I think that Tailwind, that Make It Rain critical hit on Volcarona was just really instrumental in giving Sean a way out.
Yeah, and sadly, Elise is locked into that close combat due to Choice Scarf.
It's not even enough.
It's not enough, and her boot and her defenses are going down every turn, and I think it's just up from here because of the order up. Never mind, that does a little bit less damage than I anticipated.
Right, but it's still not looking very good for Sean. I mean, for Elise.
Elise, it's a little bit. Miraidon's still in the back, so Elise will still have to deal with that, but. Since Urshifu is going to be able to go off for another close combat, it might be able to pick up the kill on Dozo, but it's going to just allow Tatsugiri to be free and be able to set up next to Miraidon, and it's going to be a tricky game of what does Sean do? Which Mon does he believe that Elise will target, and which Mon will be able to pick up the KO?
Right, yeah. And it's just very. I think that if Draco Meteor connects from Tatsugiri, it should be enough to knock out this multiple stages lowered Urshifu.
It might not even need the Draco Meteor just because of the -3 defenses.
Oh, but Terastallization is still there. Okay.
Ooh. This might be Terra Fairy Miraidon coming in, trying to resist the close combat, especially because it's AV. It's going to be a little bit more bulkier, not going to have that much power. And I think this actually might be game one for Sean. Close combat does go into the Miraidon slot, does a little bit of 30%. Defenses are down, but I think the Miraidon's just going to be able to just let it rip and go for that. Never mind, Tatsugiri's faster. Still giving that Draco
Yes,
Meteor.
It's holding that Choice Scarf, yes.
Yeah, I should have looked at the team sheets a little bit better, but because of that Draco Meteor, Sean is going to be able to pick up game one, and it's going to be interesting on how Elise makes these adaptations going into game two.
Yeah, it's very, very neat to see how Sean has taken the Cheng Yue team and really, really trying to make it his own. And we can see that in 2016, Sean actually got top 8 in the seniors Athens regional. Funny enough, that was another restricted format back then.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, I'm new, sadly, because I only joined because of Scarlet Violet. I watched a little bit of VGC, but like it is impressive to see, someone from that used to play during the senior era be still playing in this day. It definitely, the senior players are really strong and threatening when they go into the Masters era, and we're seeing that right here with Sean's gameplay.
Yeah, I think it also shows like Pokemon is forever, which is very neat.
Yes, as long as they can keep selling that Pikachu, they will keep making those games.
Well, I also hope that VGC continues forever.
Oh, I also would like VGC to keep on going, especially I think Scarlet and Violet has brought a lot new hope into the game, into the scene, being able to change it up with the terrestrialization, also open team sheets. There's so much varieties, but I think what more important is how it's going to adapt and going into the rest of this game, and what has caused this. I don't know what I'm saying at this point. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, so we're heading into game 2 of Sean versus Elise. Sean was able to win that game 1 pretty dominantly. It was very unfortunate that the critical hit happened, but we see the same leads from both Elise and Sean.
That's interesting. You would think you might be able to swap it up a tiny bit, but I think it does make sense for Elise's side. Terapagos does threaten to remove the rain from Miraidon, so lowering the attack, and you kind of need to set up screens early on, because if not, then you could take massive damage as the set goes on, and if you can't really reposition yourself, it could just be the end for you.
Right. And I think that Elise correctly identifies that Goldango is the major threat for special damage on on Sean's team. Very smart targeting on to that Goldango. We'll have to see if Sean will be reacting to that.
If she did go for that foul play, it is going to be a little bit risky due to the fact of she will be using her terrestrialization. I believe it's going into that Terrapago slot, which it is, so it is going to remove the terrain from Miraidon, which is going to help her out. But if Grimmsnarl went for that foul play, I do not think it lives a Make It Rain. I don't think it's that faster than Goldango, and it barely lived a Make It Rain from the first time around.
Okay, we see light screen. Yes, it was the light screen.
Okay, yeah. Light screen does make a lot of sense here. We do see Electric Drift coming out from Miraidon, going straight into that Terrapago slot. Seems to be a repeat of Game 1, going into just similar board states. Make It Rain is coming out again, going into the Grimmsnarl. Does pick up the KO. Was that a crit?
Yeah.
It was.
No,
No.
This is just... That Goldango is on a tear today.
It is making it rain with not only the damage, but crits for every single mon. We do see Terrapagos go for that Earth Power, going straight into the Goldango, being able to get revenge for the Grimmsnarl, but I don't think it helps her out as much because Goldango did its job. Just do enough damage to the Grimmsnarl to either be dead or just to cause it to swap out. So I don't know what Elise is going to be able to do from this point.
Yeah, I'm just really worried about how she's going to be weathering this Dondozo.
We do see Dozo comes out, and it looks like the Volcarona again.
Yeah, this is just looking very unfortunate for Elise. We'll have to see how these Pokemon are trained. Is Dondozo able to get that Omni boost right away?
If it does get that Tatsugiri in with the Commander ability, does it pick up the KO onto Volcarona? It more than likely does because there is no Reflect, but it's a little bit of an interesting interesting play because we do see Elise swapping out her Terrapagos. I believe she is bringing in that Urshifu. There we go. Urshifu is now entering the stage, but I don't think... Oh, Protect on Dozo. That's a very interesting play from Sean.
Draco Meteor onto Volcarona, not doing that much, but I think this might be the opportunity Elise needs.
Yeah, being able to set up Tailwind, something that she could not do game 1, so that is something in her favor. But I think because of that passive play from Sean, it might have hurt him detrimentally. We can assume those Tatsugiri is in the back, but I just don't really know what that Urshifu is going to do. I don't think it's not the correct... I don't really know what it could go for. Surgery Strike's not going to be able to do enough damage. It could be able to pivot out because of U-turn, especially because it went for the Protect, but getting that damage with close combat would be nice. It is just so difficult because of the Tatsugiri in the back.
I think also ignoring that Omni boost is pretty important, which is why the critical hits from Surging Strikes...
It kind of ignores it, but because it's resistant, it's not going to be able to do as much damage.
Yeah, so we see the switch out into the Tatsugiri, giving Dondozo that Omni boost.
Ooh, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. If she had targeted the Miraidon slot, it's not going to land. Dondozo getting the boost for every single stat, so it might be able to take a little bit more damage because of the +2s. But my question is, what did Elise go for that Volcarona? I believe she has
Giga Drain, yes.
Giga Drain and also Will-O-Wisp, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, there's no Will-O-Wisp.
There's no Will-O-Wisp?
Yes, but Giga Drain, depending on how this Volcarona is trained, it might be able to do some significant damage.
It goes, yeah. She does go for the Giga Drain, being able to recover a tiny bit of HP, and because it's Tailwind, she is always going to go first. I don't really know what, oh, that's an Earthquake going on to both of these mons. I don't know if Volcarona can live it. It does. The bulkiness of that Moth is incredible here.
Right, but now it's in a precarious situation where I think Elise wanted that Volcarona to go down.
I would think so as well. Being able to not only have Urshifu next, being able to have Urshifu possibly able to pick up the KO and also next to Tatsugiri, assuming Miraidon can do the damage. But at least I think right now she's able to do a little bit more damage, possibly put Dozo in a rage that it will be able to pick that Miraidon will be able to come in and pick up that KO, and then Urshifu could just maybe go for either Surging Strikes or close combat.
And we see the Terastallization onto the Dondozo, Terastallizing into that Terra Grass.
Yeah, that's actually a really good play on his side, knowing that Elise is stuck into that Surging Strikes, and she's more than likely going for that Giga Drain. Both of the hits are going to be resisted. Yeah, that damage output from Surging Strikes, even ignoring the boost, is not doing that much because it's a resisted hit.
Right, yeah, that was just a very good terrestrialization from Sean, and unfortunately Elise did not call it. That Giga Drain doing minuscule damage.
It's a very unfortunate. She still could go for Heat Wave, but I don't know how long she has with the Tailwind turns. Order Up does go into the Volcarona, and it does pick up the KO.
But does it get the burn?
Ooh, I don't think it does. It ignores the burn.
Not the burn.
It gets the +1. I think the fish is going to go ham and just obliterate this board state. Tailwind is still up on the field, but Terapagos is coming back onto the play. Still be able to do a massive amount of damage because it's terrestrialized, but I do not know how it's going to play out.
Oh, and we actually don't see the
Protect? Oh, yeah.
So it's just going to be interesting to see if this Dondozo can outspeed Terapagos after the Omni boost.
It's going to be interesting. Terra Starstorm is going to avoid the Tatsugiri, but its main target is that Dondozo going straight into it. It will be able to pick up the KO, but because of this, the Tatsugiri is just coming in for free. And with Miraidon still in the back, I just don't see a way for Elise to come back from this.
Yeah, it's really going to be dependent on the targeting. If Sean gets Tailwind does peter out, the light screen, it still might be on, but I don't think that Miraidon Terapagos can survive a Draco Meteor plus an Electro Drift at this range.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's just with being able to, unless it lives barely because of Electro Drift and going and avoids a Draco, I actually think there's no way for Elise to come back, and this might be able to be Sean's set.
Yeah, that Miraidon's also holding the Assault Vest, so Terra Starstorm might not even be enough to knock it out.
Yeah, we do see Urshifu targeting that Miraidon, doing as much damage as it can, but it's not enough. It is resisted. We are going to see, I think, Miraidon go in first. Icy Wind.
Oh, Icy Wind.
It
Urshifu
misses.
Avoiding the attack.
That actually might be important for the Urshifu just because it was Scarf, but I don't think it makes a play. Miraidon is going for the Electric Drift, going straight into the turtle, being able to just knock it out.
Yeah, that's not enough, even with the light screen.
That is unfortunate. We do see the turtle go down, and I think in this 1v2 scenario, as much as Urshifu is considered to be a broken mon, I don't think it's powerful enough to get away from this set.
Yeah.
And we are going to see Sean not only take the top 8 match, but being able to advance to top 4.
Yeah, that was just very well played by Sean. And commiserations to Elise. I know that she's one of my locals. She's been working very hard, and to make top 8 at this very stacked cup is an accomplishment and should be, taken with pride.
Yeah, and also it wasn't like she faced a very hard matchup. She did face a very hard matchup, which was the Miraidon. It did get Worlds. It get top 8 at Worlds. It was shown why that team is actually powerful, not only with the Miraidon being able to be just a broken mon in itself, but having that Dozo option in case you just kind of want to just take hits and do as much damage before it goes out is the reason why it does phenomenal, and it's why Sean is even running it. So going into top 4, which honestly I'm very excited to see how the rest of the top 8 matches go and what's have in store for us with top 4.
Right, I'm really curious to see what the bracket is going to look like.
Yeah, it's only time will tell, but I'm honest, this is a phenomenal top 8 and honestly a lot of the good players, so I'm very excited to see how it plays out. But don't you go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to be having our top 4 matches very soon. See ya.